What's going on, y'all? Goofy Rexy. Hope you guys are doing well. So we've had a couple weeks now to kind of digest and play around with ISO 8s. I'm actually enjoying ISO 8s quite a bit on my end. But I've definitely seen, a few mistakes that have been made where it comes to ISO 8s. Also, some of them have been made by me, so I actually just wanted to go over that today. Hopefully it will be helpful information for you guys. Just to kind of, some of it you might already, been thinking about, might have already kind of corrected these, but I'm hoping that this is going to be something that's going to be helpful for those who haven't yet. And maybe you can help spread the word in regards to not making these mistakes too as well. All right, guys, let's do it right now. And guys, as well, if you have any questions about any of the material that I'm going to be covering here, please also know that there's other ways for you to connect with me. You can always leave a comment down below, on this video. You can also catch me live on Twitch Tuesdays, Thursdays, Friday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The link is also down below. You can also catch me on Fridays at 12 noon too as well. And there's also a link to my Discord server. So you can come in there, ask me any sort of MSF questions that you want, or just come in and chill, if you wanted to as well. But those are the other ways that you can connect with me if you have any questions. All right, y'all, let's do this. All right, y'all. So I got my main man here, Symbiote Spider-Man. Symbiote Spider-Man has been my guinea pig throughout this whole thing. He'd probably be mad at me at this point. I'm sorry, Symbiote Spider-Man. Apologies, brother. But listen, so the first thing is investing into too many characters. That's really kind of what I've been seeing has been kind of like the main issue so far, is just investing into way too many characters. I've had a couple people ask me, Goofy, what should I put into my AIM team? What should I put into my Hydra team? And listen, I ain't got nothing against those teams. They're phenomenal teams. They're great teams and they're fun teams, but the problem is that there are teams that are one-dimensional, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't invest any ISOs into them. Eventually, I'm just saying initially, let's not make the mistake of investing into too many characters and characters like that, right? I would say, I think we've probably been preaching this now is, invest first into your arena teams, invest first into your raid teams or raid characters. Those characters are probably going to overlap anyways, right? Because, like me, I use 3 characters in my arena team that are also on my Ultimus, raid team too as well. So it's like, I'm not really putting too many ISOs into characters. I kind of have enough, grouping within those 7 characters that I have the main ones on, Symbiote Spider-Man being one of them. So I'm pretty relatively good. And then I would say, expand then to probably like your top 2, top 3 war offense and then war defense teams. Do it in sequence. Don't try to do it all at once. Implement kind of like a plan progression point, to make sure that you're not overutilizing your ions, overutilizing your crystals there too as well. And it's just better. Like, when you think about the math of it, right? If you're going to invest into all of your war offense and all of your war defense teams, which for the most part, let's just say at a bare minimum, that's 8 teams per, right? So that's 16 teams in total. You're going to have to equip 5 ISO crystals on each character just to be able to get them to a level 1, ISO class. That's 80 characters. That's 400 ISO crystals that you're gonna have to invest, into those characters. Now, granted, that's probably not your intent, at least right now, but like that's probably what you're thinking. Let me week by week, let me try to do this, day by day, let me try to do this. It's just you don't have enough resources, and like I said, that's just level 1. Like, you want to get them to like level 2 at least, so they can get that extra 10% health. You want to get them to level 3 so that they can get the second tier of that, of that ability, ISO, or that increased ISO that they're getting to as well. So, in my personal opinion, not really, good to kind of invest into characters like Baron Zemo, or like I said, they're great characters, but not characters that are too one-dimensional right now. You want to invest into characters that you're going to be using a lot. Arena, 5 attacks a day, right? Raids, probably 7 to 10 attacks a day when it comes to, to your raids, So yes, absolutely. I would say good characters to invest into later, but initially let's just invest into the main teams first, and maybe some long-term characters too, like characters that just in general, long-term characters that, I'm going to use them forever because they're going to be that good, start putting some ISOs into those characters too. I would definitely say that that's the direction to go, and, kind of keep it moving from there. All right. All right. So the next one that I wanted to talk about here is essentially just leveling up characters way too fast, without sort of putting any sort of proper planning in place. I think there's a tier list. Remen and the community, other guys in the community have been, really helpful in creating this tier list in regards to like what classes you should use on certain particular characters. They're upgrading this list. I'm going to try to see if I can find that and then link it down here in the description. I've been following that class too as well, to kind of, theory craft in a sense and figure out exactly, okay, like, do I like this character as this? Do I not like this character? What about when I put them with this team? Like, what about then? Like, I've definitely been doing that. And like I said, it's primarily been my raid and my arena teams that I've been doing that with, so I think the problem though is that, I think people have been leveling up their characters too quickly and not really kind of assessing whether or not that class is working on that particular character. And I'm actually guilty of this too. Granted, Symbiote Spider-Man was my guinea pig, so I really only did this with him. But I started off with healer, on Symbiote Spider-Man. And then I realized that, I actually don't like him as a healer because, he does have the ability to hit multiple characters. So I feel like Raider is better. So yes, I tried Raider, but then I was like, maybe I should try Skirmisher. And I kind of just like went back and forth with just like, moving things around. And each time, let's say that I never upgraded, I even tried level 1 fortifier on him, which I don't know why I did that, but that once again, guinea pig purposes, that's the reason why I did that. But with I tried Striker and I didn't like Striker, and then I I upgraded, I got to a level 2 healer, then I went over and I upgraded to a level 2 striker. Like each time I had to spend ions to do that, each time I had to spend ions to upgrade a character level because it doesn't transfer over. Like if I'm a level 2 skirmisher, if I wanted to go to a level 2 skirmisher or level 4, level 4 skirmisher or level 4 healer right now, I'm going to have to pay the ions to upgrade Skirmisher to 3 and then to pay to upgrade him to 4. And the ions just start to dip down right after that. So it's just really wise and I think just beneficial for you, as a player in this game to, okay, let's figure out whether or not this is the right class for this character first, and then let me go ahead and upgrade, once I have identified that Raider does work for him, that, whatever it is that you put on them, like, listen, like this is working. It's good now. I can go ahead and I can upgrade, and kind of just make that decision, once you've done that, I think is the best thing to do. I think also as well, I think what I've seen people do is just not really like pay attention to the fusion costs, so obviously my Symbiote Spider-Man is a little bit, higher right now at level 4. So the fusion cost is going to be quite high. Literally, I almost accidentally clicked on this button just now. But just like not paying attention to the fusion costs and not essentially doing what you do with your other resources, right? Which is with your gold, you plan it out. With your cores, you plan it out. You plan out those resources. You plan out how those things are going to work. If you're not, you definitely should. But you plan out how those resources are going to work for you, which days are going to be the best days for you to use the most. You got to do the same thing with ions. Like, okay, let's think about it. Like, how many ions am I going to be getting back in a particular day? Then, if I'm going to be getting that amount of ions, then maybe I only want to spend this amount of ions, and then I'll spend the rest tomorrow because I know that I'm getting this amount of ions back. Like, I just think the reality is that you just got to really like kind of treat this essentially like any other resource that you have in this game. You got to treat it like that. You got to be smart about, how you're using it, not invest, like I said, not using too many, not using too many like fusion costs and things like that, because you're just essentially gonna run out of them. And it seems like a lot of resources. It seems like you have a lot of ions. It seems like you have a lot of iso crystals, but you ultimately don't really have a lot of them. So you just want to make sure that you're paying attention to, kind of your costs, planning those things out. And I think that there's actually a way to make sure that you're not fusing, that you're kind of like selecting what pieces that you're using to as well. That's another thing to pay attention to, so that your fuse cost is not as high. That's another thing to identify and make sure. I'm not really the best at figuring out that information, but I would definitely say, touch base with, I'll find out from Remen. Remen's a really good guy that kind of has that information in regards to, what sort of ways to specifically pick out, what items you want to use. But I know that there's a way to make the fusion cost a little bit lighter for you. So, or at least that's what I think. But listen, this is kind of just like my sort of initial thoughts here on things, just the top mistakes that I've seen so far. Hopefully you're going to be able to correct these and then to kind of improve on. Don't make the same mistake that I made by, selecting a class and trying to level up that class and then try to go back to level up another class. Make sure that you've identified which specific class is going to work for you. Pay attention to your fusion costs. Make sure that you're using the resources that you're gonna be getting back, so that you're not putting yourself too much into a deficit, and also not leveling up too many characters at once. And really kind of sticking with the primary plan, primary team, implemented progression points, things like that too as well, guys. So like I said, hopefully this video was helpful for you. Appreciate you guys being here once again. And like I always say, be blessed and be safe.